it is 11 o'clock, so thanks everybody for coming to the special call meeting today. We've got myself and Commissioner Pickens here in person. Commissioner Tatum is by phone right now, so he is present by phone for the meeting. Purpose of the meeting is for us to approve the advertisement of the 2022 millage rate and 5-year levy. I do have a copy of it on the screen. I know it's kind of difficult to see, but we do have some physical copies here as well that we can definitely go. Before we move into preparing for a vote on that, I will just kind of explain a couple of the different numbers on here. I know that it was shared previously with the other commissioners, and Mr. Tatum, who's on the phone, has a copy of it. You can see that the total in 2022, when you look at the gross digest is all property value increases. So that includes real property and inflationary growth that occurred as well. The real property being any new building, new development, new updates, any improvements to homes. The inflationary was the increase that was the result of increased property value on the properties. So from the reassessment period, the inflationary growth. The exemptions is when they roll that portion back out of that inflationary growth gets rolled out, coming up with the net digest value, which then leads to the gross millage rate. The second rollback that occurs below the gross millage rate is what comes from the local option sales tax. The county's allocation and the county's portion of the local option sales tax gives that as a reduction in the millage rate. That for this year would be 2.7520 would be the reduction from the rollback that would occur into the millage rate. So if you take the gross, the net digest rate, which is after taking out the inflationary growth, and then reduce that with the 2.7520 for the local option sales tax rollback in the millage rate, that would set the millage rate for this year at 7.4380, which is a reduction from 7.489 last year. So that would be a reduction in the overall millage rate. You do see in the bottom portion of that is an increase in total dollar value, but that's due to the amount of real growth that occurred within the county that was pretty substantial in the last year. That increase coming from the real growth would be right at that 12.65% that's at the end. So just in an explanation, there is an increase in the total dollar value, but there's a rollback in the way that that's calculated out to roll back for the inflationary value and then the rollback for the local option sales tax as well to meet the criteria. This is not a tax increase. That's why we're only advertising for the 1 week, so that when we go through, we will continue that rollback rate that you can see throughout the 5-year levy has continued from 2017, where it started at 7.883, going to this one for 2022, which will be what would be advertising. The advertisement would be for it to reduce all the way down to 7.380. So continuing that steady decline in the rollback. The advertisement purposes or requirements by law is that this be advertised for a week, both in the News Oregon, the Pickens Progress, and on our county website. The purpose of this meeting would be to approve that advertisement. In the advertisement, you can see at the top there would be a called meeting on September the 9th at 11 o'clock, where we would then vote for approval of the millage rate at that time. That gives us time to be able to factor in what's required by law for us to include the school board. So once the school board approves their rate during their meeting on Thursday the 8th, they will then provide that information over to us, so that on Friday the 9th we would be able to vote that would include both of those, so the tax commissioner can take and get that process. So with all that said, I know that if there is any discussion, we can do that after a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the advertisement of the millage rate to go out, setting forth the meeting on September the 9th at 11 to be the date where we would issue any final approval on that. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion and a second. So any other discussion or questions at this point? I know Mr. Tatum, you being on the phone without being here in person, is there any questions that you've got related to it?
No, it's all been explained pretty well, I think.
Any questions on here?
Just thank you, Mr. Dobbs, and everybody that put a lot of work into this. I know it's a huge undertaking.
Thank you.
All right, so with a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
carries with no opposed. We will get this advertisement out today so that we can get it put out there and get the ball rolling. That is the only item that we have on our agenda today. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All right, we'll adjourn at 11:05, I believe. And thank you again for coming.